The Dreamcast, the last home video game console published by Sega, was released in Japan on November 27, 1998. It was the first sixth-generation video game console, the first to include a built-in modem for internet access and online play, and laid the foundation for future Sega consoles and the company's eventual resurgence. The Sega Dreamcast was also released in North America on September 9, 1999, in Europe on October 14, 1999, and in Australia on November 30, 1999. Its discontinuation in 2001. After just 3 years marked the end of Sega's 18-year run in the console market. But why did this happen? Why was the Dreamcast discontinued? A team led by Hideki Sato began developing the Dreamcast in 1997 following the failure of the Saturn, which had high development costs and poor sales. Unlike its predecessor, the Dreamcast was designed to reduce expenses by using off-the-shelf parts. It included a Hitachi SH4C, an NEC Power Verde GPU, and used the less expensive GD-ROM media format instead of the more costly DVD-ROM format. These components allowed the Dreamcast to be priced at $199 at launch, undercutting the PlayStation's $299 price point. Developers were able to include a custom version of the Windows CE operating system on game discs, allowing many PC games to be easily ported to the console. And Sega's NAOMI arcade system board allowed for nearly identical conversions of their arcade games. This new architecture made it easier for programmers to create games and reduced the cost of doing so. Additionally, the Dreamcast was the first console to include a built-in modular modem, enabling the system to connect to the internet and support online play. Though the Japanese release was beset by supply problems, the Dreamcast had a somewhat successful launch in the United States in September 1999. Backed by a large marketing campaign, the system sold 350,000 units in the first 3 days and 750,000 by the end of the year. However, sales steadily declined as gamers built anticipation for the upcoming PlayStation 2. The Dreamcast never regained its initial momentum as Sony built anticipation for the PlayStation 2, which was released in March 2000. Total worldwide sales reached 9.13 million units. Less than half of what Sega initially projected. Despite the lackluster sales, Sega attempted to renew interest in the Dreamcast by dropping the price from $199 to $149 in February 2001. This price cut, however, caused a significant loss for the company and contributed to a net loss of 56.6 billion yen or $450 million for the fiscal year. Shortly thereafter, Sega's president and CEO, Sawan Nakayama, who had led the company since 1989, stepped out. His replacement, Hisao Oguchi, aimed to turn Sega into a third-party developer and publisher. On March 31, 2001, Sega discontinued the Dreamcast, ending its 8-year run as a console manufacturer. They would later release the PC-based Sega game, but that's a story for another video. In the 3 years that it was on the market, Sega published 625 games for the Dreamcast. Its best-selling game was Sonic Adventure, the first 3D game in the Sonic the Hedgehog series, which sold 2.5 million copies. Other notable titles include the action-adventure game Crazy Taxi, which sold 2.3 million copies, the open-world adventure game Shenmue, which sold 1.5 million copies, and the GameCube launch title Jet Set Radio, which sold 1.3 million copies. The best-selling non-Sonic game in North America was the online role-playing game Phantasy Star Online, which sold 2.1 million copies. In retrospect, the Dreamcast's commercial failure can be attributed to several factors. Competition from the PlayStation 2, which launched just 4 months after the Dreamcast in Japan and 6 months after in North America was particularly fierce as many gamers preferred Sony's system due to its superior 3D graphics capabilities and greater third-party support. Furthermore, Sega's reputation was already tarnished by the earlier failures of the 32X and Saturn, both of which suffered from poor sales and a lack of good games. As a result, many retailers were reluctant to stock Dreamcast games and hardware, which in turn limited its potential audience. Also, while the Dreamcast had some success with online play, it was not without its problems. The proprietary nature of the SegaNet Link service restricted players to only playing with other Dreamcast owners, limiting the potential number of players. Despite its short lifespan, the Dreamcast is widely considered to be one of the greatest consoles of all time. Its innovative concepts, such as online play and downloadable content, were ahead of their time, and many of its games are still regarded as innovative today. The Dreamcast lives on in the video game homebrew community, where enthusiasts have created private servers to preserve its online functions. Unofficial Dreamcast software has also been developed, including ports of classic arcade games, home computer games, and even PlayStation games. Thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe to the channel. Bye!